what makes OKC so good is their ability to drive the basketball and then kick and then drive the basketball and then kick. And they did this last year. This is how they played last year when they were 42-40. And then all of a sudden, Chet comes in and it unlocks everything.
For sure. No question about it. He changed the dynamic of everything.
In his first 2 playoff games, Chet Holmgren quickly got to work with a couple of record-setting performances in front of a rowdy home Thunder crowd. In Game 1, Chet became the 5th rookie in NBA history to record 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks in a playoff debut. He also became the first ever rookie in league history to have more than 5 blocks and more than 2 threes made in a playoff game. In Game 2, Chet became only the 3rd rookie in the play-by-play era to record a plus 32 plus minus in 29 minutes, joining 2 former Spurs in Kawhi Leonard and DeJounte Murray. But going back to blocks and threes, Chet has already tied the record for most playoff games by a rookie with multiple threes and blocks. At 2 games, only Robert Horry has been in the territory that Chet now finds himself in, and he's only played 4 games as the Thunder await their second-round opponent. But Chet's historic rookie campaign didn't start in the postseason. In his first ever regular season in the NBA, he was also able to break records and rub shoulders with historically great players who also had phenomenal rookie seasons. Before I continue this breakdown, I wanted to announce a giveaway I'm doing. When I hit the 500 subscriber mark, I will be giving away a signed Aaron Wiggins Save Basketball poster to one of you beautiful people. Just subscribe, and when we hit 500, I will do a drawing to pick a winner to take this exclusive piece of art home. Among 2023-24 rookies, only 4 players attempted over 300 threes in Brandon Miller, Keontae George, Victor Wembanyama, and Chet Holmgren. Miller and Holmgren were the only 2 players of that group to shoot 37% or higher from deep. The only players to shoot a higher percentage from 3 than Chet and Miller on at least 200 attempts are Cason Wallace, Brandon Podziemski, and Marcus Sasser, with the latter 2 coming into the NBA with great shooting reputations out of college. As far as big men go, Chet has already put himself in elite company in his rookie season. The only centers this season to make more than Chet's 129 shots from 3 this season are Karl-Anthony Towns and Brook Lopez. The only centers this season to shoot a higher percentage from 3 this season than Chet at 37% among qualified players are Al Horford, Karl-Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, Bobby Portis, and Kristaps Porzingis. But it's not just the deep ball that Chet excels at when shooting. He's developing nicely into a 3-level shooter. Chet has mentioned before on the night of the NBA draft that he feels like he could end up being a 50-40-90 player. The 50-40-90 club is one of the most elite clubs in NBA history when it comes to efficiency. There have only been 13 seasons where a player has met the mark, and of those 13 seasons, it was done by a total of 8 players. Although it might be a lofty goal, I think it's something that is certainly in the realm of possibilities for Chet in his career. In his rookie season, Chet shot 53% from the field, so check in the box for that one. He shot 37% from 3, so that seems reasonable to reach over the course of his career. Last but not least is the free throw line. At 78.9%, Chet ranks as the 6th best shooter from the line this season among starting centers. He definitely has some work to do to get to the 90% threshold, and history isn't exactly on his side. According to Basketball Reference, there have only been 2 qualified centers in NBA history to shoot at least 90% from the line for a season. Those 2 players are Mike Jaminski and Jack Sikma. Both players hit the 90% threshold in 2 different seasons, and the most recent year for a center to shoot 90 or above from the line was in the 1992-1993 season. Although the 50 and 40 part seem firmly in his reach, the odds to hit 90% of his free throws for Chet as a center are not exactly on his side, but that hasn't stopped him before, and although not likely, I do think there's a real chance Chet could get to 90% for a season at some point in his career. It hasn't just been Chet's shooting, though, that's helped elevate the Thunder's offense this season. With the addition of Chet, OKC was also able to gain a vertical threat they haven't had during this iteration of Thunder basketball. Chet as a lob threat does a great job keeping defenses honest, as opposing centers have to stay honest and respect him as a shooter. Against some of those more slow-footed bigs, Chet can be unleashed in a foot race diving to the rim for a lob. He's really developed a nice 2-man chemistry with Jalen Williams, and more than likely Chet will learn even more tricks to the trade that is the cat and mouse game of when to pop out and when to roll to the rim after setting on-ball screens. It makes sense as a pretty straightforward 1 + 1 = 2 idea of adding an elite rim protector and defender to your starting 5 for around 30 minutes a game would improve your defense. But it isn't just conventional wisdom that's saying that. A lot of advanced numbers and analytics are screaming similar things about Chet's positive contributions to help lift the Thunder's defense from a top 20 defense last season to firmly in the top 3 in the NBA this year. As a rookie, Chet has hit the ground running as a rim deterrent, averaging 2.3 swats a game, good for 5th in the league in blocks per game this season. Last year, the Thunder averaged 4.2 blocks a game, which was good for the 22nd most per game in the NBA. This season, with Chet patrolling the lane, OKC has jumped up to tied at number 1 with 6.6 rejections a night, along with leaping 21 spots in blocks per games ranking in the process. The Thunder also took a jump in the standings when it comes to steals, in part due to Chet's presence and unique tools defensively. With Chet as the backline of the Thunder defense, it has allowed defenders like Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, and more to play even more aggressive on the ball, knowing that they have an insurance policy waiting behind them if their guys manages to get past them. Chet in a lot of ways is the mistake eraser for the Thunder in the paint. There's a blow by, someone misses an assignment, miscommunicated switches, guys getting buried on a screen who can't get back into play, and more. Chet is always ready to clean things up and swat a shot or get a great contest at the basket. The history of the NBA says that rim protection is the backbone of a great defense. Since the dawn of the Defensive Player of the Year trophy in 1983, it has been dominated by bigs and shot blockers alike, with 28 of the 41 winners either being centers or power forwards. Before Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year in 2022, there hadn't been a guard to win that award since 1996. Over 2,400 minutes in 157 games, making him only the 8th rookie in NBA history to hit both of those thresholds in a season. The other 7? All Hall of Famers, a combined 24 NBA championships, 11 NBA Finals MVPs, 16 MVPs, 43 first-team All-NBA appearances, and 77 All-Star teams. Of that group, each player on average won roughly 3 rings, with only 2 of the 7 winning 1 title, an average of 1.5 Finals MVP per player, 2 MVPs per player, and all but 3 of the 7 won multiple MVPs, an average of 6 All-NBA first teams, with 6 out of the 7 players making first team at least 4 times, and an average of 11 All-Star teams, with every single one of the 7 players making at least 4 All-Star teams. But who are these 7 Hall of Famers? I didn't think it would be enough to just name them one at a time, so here's a short recap of the rookie seasons and players that Chet joined this year. With the addition of the Admiral, the Spurs took a 35-win leap on their way to a 56-win season in Robinson's rookie year. Robinson won the 1999 Rookie of the Year voting in a landslide after finishing 10th in points per game in the league, along with making an All-Star team, an All-NBA third team, and All-Defensive second team. Before he became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wes Unseld was the savior for the expansion Milwaukee Bucks. Being an expansion franchise, their first season was a challenging one, going 27-55, but that all changed after they won a coin flip for the rights to draft Wes Unseld in the 1969-1970 NBA draft, who was the Victor Wembanyama before Wemby as a truly generational talents to come into the league as a draft prospect. The soon-to-be Kareem totally flipped the fortune of the Bucks as they improved, winning 29 more games than the year before. He also left that season with a lot of award consideration, winning Rookie of the Year, coming in 3rd for MVP, 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year, an All-Star team, and making an All-NBA second team. In 1997, the previously mentioned David Robinson missed the first 18 games of the season due to a back injury. Shortly after returning, the Admiral broke his left foot and underwent surgery, missing the rest of the season. Many will cite that the Spurs held Robinson out as they saw their season was lost, and more importantly saw a star on the horizon in the form of Tim Duncan in the 1997-98 NBA draft. With the addition of the polished and extremely talented Duncan, the Spurs had their version of the Twin Towers, with Duncan and Robinson along with a great mentor for the future big fundamental to learn from. Duncan elevated the Spurs to a second-round playoff appearance, an eventual title in a second season. During his rookie year, he also was named Rookie of the Year, top 5 in MVP, an All-Star team, All-NBA first team, All-NBA defensive second team, and a top 5 finish in Defensive Player of the Year, laying the foundation for the career of one of the 10 best players in NBA history. Coming out of Indiana State, Larry Bird was known as the Hick from French Lick, and received a lot of raised eyebrows when he was given the largest rookie contract in pro team sports history by the Boston Celtics. Bird quickly silenced any doubts in his first NBA season, in which he helped the Celtics add 32 more wins from their previous season and the best record in the NBA for the 1979-80 season, going 61-21. Larry Legend took the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Championship before being eliminated by Dr. J and the 76ers. Bird beat out Magic Johnson for Rookie of the Year, being picked by 63 out of 66 voter ballots. He also made an All-Star team, a top 4 MVP finish, and an All-NBA first team. Anytime an accomplishment in NBA history has only been made by 2 people, and one of them is Wilt Chamberlain, that is typically a great sign. Wes Unseld joined Wilt as the only 2 players in NBA history to win an MVP in their rookie seasons. Unseld helped the Bullets obtain the best record in the league through a 21-win increase. Unseld's dominant presence on the board snagged him not only the MVP trophy, but also Rookie of the Year, an All-Star team, and an All-NBA first team appearance. On the other side of the coin, the Yang to Larry Bird's Yang in the 1979-80 season was Magic Johnson. It was evident the only thing brighter than Magic's smile was his future as he hit the ground running immediately, helping to contribute to a contender and complementing one of the best of all time in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Magic that season started in the NBA All-Star Game, but what most people, rightfully so, will remember from his rookie season was his iconic NBA Finals performance, where after playing point guard all season, Magic played center for the shorthanded Lakers after their captain in Kareem went down with an ankle injury in Game 5. It's a game tattooed in the history books of the NBA as a rookie Magic Johnson filled in for Kareem at center against Dr. J and Daryl Dawkins on the road in Philadelphia. Magic was unbelievable and tallied 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists to help the Lakers win the title in a season and series that felt like it was a script from a Disney sports movie. Up until the 1974 season, the NBA draft was a marathon of an event with 10 rounds of draft picks. In the 1969-70, as I previously mentioned, Wes Unseld was the prize of the draft that went to the Bucks off a coin flip, which tends to overshadow a diamond in the rough Milwaukee found in the 4th round. Standing at 6'6", Bob Dandridge was known as one of the more versatile forwards of the 70s, and with the additions of the soon-to-be Abdul-Jabbar and Dandridge, who were ready-made stars the second they stepped in the NBA, the Bucks in the 1970 offseason went all in and traded for a former MVP in Oscar Robertson. With Kareem leading the way and the Big O running the show, Dandridge was able to seamlessly fit between the two all-time greats and complement their games as Milwaukee went on to win the NBA championship in that season. To level out some of the minutes per game disparities among this group, I decided to look up all 8 players per 36 stats with Chet included and see how well he stacks up among the group. Chet ended up ranking 2nd in blocks per game among his peers on the list, 4th in points per game, and 6th in rebounds per game. On the night of the 2022 NBA lottery, the OKC Thunder came into the anticipated event with the 4th best odds in a draft class that was looked at for the most part as a 3-player draft, with any one of Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., or Chet Holmgren primed to go number 1. The only objective was hope and pray the Thunder jumped into the top 3 after coming into the night with the 4th best odds, and anything higher than that is just icing on top of the cake. The Thunder did just that and jumped up from 4 up to 2 and secured themselves the right to come away with, at worst, a number 2 player on their board if the Magic took OKC's favorite prospect at 1. There was a ton of discussion about who the Thunder should take or want at 2, and ultimately a majority of the fan base had their sights set on Chet. OKC fans did get a brief scare on Twitter on the day of the draft as Chris Haynes might have jumped the gun or got bad information and reported that OKC was selecting Jabari Smith Jr., but luckily for Thunder fans, that wasn't the reality, and they came away with their guy at 2 and Chet Holmgren. Skipping ahead a few months, many NBA players during their offseason spend hours in the lab working on their game and trying new tricks in their bag in various NBA Pro-Ams that are hosted during the summer. Chet ended up playing in a Seattle Pro-Am with the likes of LeBron James, Paolo Banchero, Jason Tatum, and more.
The breaking news from the NBA is not good. It's bad news out of Oklahoma City. Thunder rookie Chet Holmgren will miss the entire upcoming season because of a Liz Frank injury to his right foot. The number 2 overall pick in June's draft suffered the injury Saturday. It's right here during a Pro-Am game in Seattle.
It looked like an average fast break, and then disaster struck. As in a freak accident, Chet suffered a Liz Frank injury that would require surgery and would keep him off the floor for his first season in the NBA. The Thunder fan base rightfully was shaken and wondering what was going to happen. Sam Presti answered the call and addressed the fan base's concerns, Chet's injury, and more to help Thunder fans realize the world had not caved in. And he was also optimistic that Chet would come back even better and stronger after recovering.
If you asked me before the lottery, right before I walked into that room, if I would want to take my chances of going through the lottery with the odds, picking, you could pick between 1 or you could pick 8. Or the other option is you could have Chet Holmgren, but you have to wait a year to get him. I would not let you finish the sentence.
In the history of the NBA, big men basically since the inception of the league have struggled with foot injuries with the likes of Greg Oden, Yao Ming, Bill Walton, and more, all having their careers either extremely hindered, if not derailed, by foot injuries. Even if Chet's injury was far different from those past players, a foot injury at all for a 7-footer is usually a cause for concern. Not as important, but the injury also inadvertently and unfortunately emboldened doubters who questioned if Chet's body and frame could survive in the NBA, or if he would join the long line of talented big men who were more talked about off the floor with their injuries than what they did on the court. So did Chet get a red shirt in the league to learn the NBA? Yes, but truly the best teacher is experience, and Chet for the most part last season was resigned to riding around on a scooter and rehabbing his injury. This is all just to promote just how good he was this season coming off an injury. Chet is certainly not the first player to miss their first NBA season due to injury, and he won't be the last. But how does Chet's rookie season stack up with the other NBA players who were in the same boat sitting out their first year in the league? Blake Griffin, after returning from injury, had his lone 82-game season, and he ended up playing 6 seasons of 65-plus games. Joel Embiid had 31 games played in his rookie season, and so far in his career, he's had 2 seasons playing 65 games or more. Ben Simmons, in his first return to the NBA, 81 games in his rookie season, and 2 seasons playing 65 or more. Michael Porter Jr. played 55 games in his rookie season, and he's had 1 season playing more than 65 games since. Nerlens Noel also missed his rookie season, came back the next year, 75 games in his first year playing in the NBA, and 3 seasons playing 65-plus games the rest of his career. Greg Oden played 61 games in his first season back, and then never played more than 23 games in a season for the rest of his career. And then finally, Julius Randle, who did technically play in his rookie year, but only played 14 minutes before breaking his leg, played 81 games in his next season, or his quote-unquote real rookie season, and since then has added on 7 other seasons playing at least 65 games or more. On average of these players, they played 66 to 67 games in their rookie season after missing their first year to injury. Playing 82 games isn't easy, and there has been some discourse around Chet and other NBA players about just saying, yay, you did your job, you showed up for work every day, and other things like that. But it's not exactly that simple, and Chet mentioned something about that in the last game of the season after a Mavericks win.
Hypocrisy in the way things are looked at. It's like, you sit out of a game, and it's like, you're getting paid all this money to play basketball, and they won't even go out there and just play basketball. And then it's like back to back, you just played 5 and 7 days, your ankle hurts, you go out there, you put up a dud. Now it's, you sold my parlay, you suck, da da da. It's like, what do you want? Do you want me to fight through and play, or do you want me to sit and rest out so that, I'm not breaking all parlays? It's, just kind of learn that's how it goes. People don't see what you're going through. They just kind of see the results. They just care about, us winning games and, performing. It's somewhat dehumanizing, but that's, part of it. I've kind of learned that. And, I don't look at it in a negative way. I've just kind of tried to learn from it and roll with it.
Like he mentioned, just because he played 82 games this season, that absolutely doesn't mean he was healthy all of this season or not playing through injuries, bumps, bruises, scratches, elbows, and more. One of the most impressive parts of Chet's season that you can't find on any box score or stat sheet is just how tough he was this season, playing through contact, getting overpowered, getting right back up, and not really letting those things impact his game. Playing 82 games is far from the norm. There are a number of players like Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, Giannis, Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Luka, Devin Booker, Paul George, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, Kawhi, DeMarcus Cousins, Joel Embiid, Jerry West, Tracy McGrady, Oscar Robertson, Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, Manu Ginobili, Kyrie Irving, and more, who never once hit the 82 game mark. So it really is an accomplishment for Chet to play all 82, including just some of the skepticism around him from the time of the draft and before about his body holding up. And among all these other elite players, Chet is the only one who played 82 games in a season, and he did it after recovering from an injury. So do I think this is the new standard for Chet to play every game of every regular season? Absolutely not. But if he can make a habit of playing 65 to 70 games for most seasons in his career, then that is an absolute home run win for the Thunder on a player who many had in pre-draft and still to this day concerns about his thin frame, body being able to hold up in the NBA at the highest level, and more. So in conclusion, Chet Holmgren may not end up winning Rookie of the Year, but that does not mean he hasn't had a phenomenal starting point of a first season in the NBA. With the amount of competitiveness, toughness, work ethic, talent, and skill that Chet possesses, the sky very truly is the limit for him. He silenced any doubters who wondered if he could be good at the NBA level, and now he only leaves us with one question. How good can Chet Holmgren be? Let me know what you think down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure I know exactly what you guys want to see. And until next time, thanks for watching.